Now, the next book after Exodus is Deuteronomy. Watch this now. Deuteronomy chapter 1 verse 1. Now I mentioned about the Red Sea. Yep. Now just to set the context, let's read Deuteronomy chapter 1 verse 1 to get the tone and the context. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 1 verse 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel.
The same people that he delivered out of bondage. Read.
On this side Jordan in the wilderness, in the plain over against the Red Sea.
Over by the Red Sea. So they've gone through the Red Sea. We're now in the book of Exodus. We're going to stay in the same book of Exodus and listen to what Moses, by the mouth of God, tells the same Israelites. Let's see what Moses is instructed to tell them. Jump over to chapter 28 and verse 1.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Now, Ty. They've just spent 400 years in slavery, bondage. God's saying to them now, if you keep my commandments, I will set you, the Israelites, on high above all nations on the face of the earth. Now, if you're on high above all nations on the face of the earth, what does that mean? You're in rulership. You understand? Now, Ty, don't be distracted. Watch this. Because the next verse I'm going to get my brother to read is verse 15, which is the negative side of not keeping the commandments. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So, Ty, as a result of not being obedient to the commandments that God gave Moses to give to the children of Israel, God said, I'm going to put curses on you, Israelites. Now, Ty, I've given you an outline now, and now I'm going to ask you to join the dots, because so far, thus far, we're speaking about the children of Israel. Now, we're going to fast forward to this year, and I've met a man on the streets of West Bromwich, and I asked his name, and he said it was Ty, and he gave me where your nationality was, and he said Jamaica. Let's join the dots now. Let's see some of the curses, why you would identify yourself as Jamaica. Watch this. Give me verse 32.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 32.
Now this is what Moses is saying would happen to the children of Israel for not keeping the commandments. What's one of the curses?
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
So the Israelite sons and daughters would be given unto another people, meaning another nation of people. Read.
And thine eyes shall look and fill with longing for them all the day long.
Now what does that mean? It means your sons and daughters will be given unto another people. But what? The elderly, the parents will be left behind, and they will be crying for their sons and daughters because somebody's going to be taking them because they're given unto another people. Now, Ty, which people on the planet Earth do you know in history whose sons and daughters were forcibly taken from them and given unto another people? Which people did that happen to? Which people can you identify? Black people. Alright, so let's stay there. Black people. Now watch this. Verse 48.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 48.
Another curse. Listen.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
So therefore, Israelites, because you don't keep my commandments, you're going to serve your enemies. Read.
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
Now remember, it's the Lord that's going to send the enemies against the Israelites because they broke his commandments. And what would be the consequence of breaking the commandments? Read.
In hunger.
So the Israelites would have to serve their enemies every time they're hungry. They have to go to the enemies for food. Read.
And in thirst.
So anything the Israelites want to drink, they have to go to their enemies, meaning they're not going to be the producers of these things. What else?
And in nakedness.
And in clothing, they would have to go to their enemies. What else?
And in what of all things?
From start to finish. Anything you want in life, Israelites, you're going to have to go to your enemies. So if it's toilet paper, to a driving license, to a birth certificate for your child, you're going to have to go to the other nations for it. Watch this now. Watch this. Read.
And he,
meaning your enemies,
shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
Ty, which people on the planet had yokes of iron placed on their necks?
No.
Did it happen to the Vietnamese? Did your people have yokes of iron on their necks? Did this happen to your people? Yokes of iron? In your history? So did your grandfather, grandmother ever told you of a time in the past where your ancestors had yokes of iron on their necks like this? Yes or no?
No.
Is there any history of your people, Vietnamese, having yokes of iron on their necks?
I think my brother.
No, as a nation, because God's speaking about the whole nation of Israel. No, the whole nation, no. But, read that again, for Ty.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
So the enemies will put yokes of iron on the Israelites' necks. Ty, which people on the planet have yokes of iron on their necks? Black people, right. Now, is that it?
Until he have destroyed thee.
Meaning what? Meaning what? It doesn't mean that the children of Israel will be destroyed off the face of the earth. It means they will be destroyed in their mind. Because remember, it said, the yokes of iron will stay on our necks until. Because in slavery, what did they do? They had yokes of iron on their necks and they kept them on there until, I'll give you an example. You ever seen Roots? Yeah. There's a character in there called Kunta Kinte, yes? And they were beating him. What? I'm going to give you a name and you're going to like it. Toby. But he refused, didn't he? He didn't want to be called what the slave master placed on him. He said, the slave master said, your name is Toby, what is it? He says, Kunta Kinte. Another lash. Until he eventually broke his spirit. And he confessed his name was Toby. And then the yokes of iron could come off because he read it again. Until he have destroyed thee. So his mind was destroyed now because now he's cutting himself off from his legacy, his heritage. He's now identified with his oppressor. And we can prove that because my next question to you is, what's your surname? Green. Now does that sound like an African name? No. So where do you think we get these names from? From the same people that enslaved us. You understand? Now, you said black twice. Right, now let's just narrow it down, alright? What mode of transport took your ancestors to the land that we know today as Jamaica? What mode of transport? Ships. Let's see if Moses prophesied if the children of Israel broke the commandments, whether that will be found prophetically in the Bible. Verse 68.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt.
Stop. And the Lord, Ty, will bring the children of Israel back into Egypt. Remember, what did Egypt mean? Bondage, captivity, slavery, like you said, Ty. So, Ty, pay attention now, because here's the question. Here's the crunch question. If we know that bondage means slavery or captivity, read this again with your understanding now, Ty. Read.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt.
Bondage, captivity, slavery. How?
Again with ships.
With ships, Ty. With ships. The children of Israel will go into bondage again with ships. You understand? Alright, who wants to see? Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. You got a Bible at home?
Yeah.
So, we're going to give you a flyer, and it's got information on it. Now, have you ever heard this before?
No, I didn't know that he said that in there.
You never knew he said that in there. Now, we're reading about the children of Israel having curses placed on them for breaking the commandments.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is